factual genres are those that deal with information, with actuality, with the news. In other words, with current affairs, but from an impartial point of view.
Welcome to the latest global news, recorded at midnight GMT on Monday the 14th of July. I'm Nick Miles with a selection of highlights from across BBC World Service News today. Coming up.
They went crazy. This is what they have been waiting for. I have to say it was very tense up until that goal. The roar you could probably hear right across Berlin, and it went on for some time.
Ecstasy in Berlin as Germany lifts the World Cup in Brazil. We'll hear from Rio. Also today, Palestinian officials say more than 170 people have been killed since Israel started its attacks on Gaza. No Israelis have been killed by Hamas rocket fire. The leaders of Germany and Russia say they're worried the crisis in eastern Ukraine is getting worse. And later, one of the most prodigious conductors of recent years, Lorin Maazel, has died. We look back at his career.
What you've just heard is the beginning of BBC's World Service Global News. This is the beginning of a bulletin. Nevertheless, the first and most basic informative format is the news. The best short definition of news is that which is new, interesting and true. New in that it is an account of events that the listener has not heard before, or an update of a previous broadcast. Interesting in the sense of the material being relevant, directly affecting the listener in some way, and true because the story as told is factually correct. The basics of news and current affairs broadcasting has always been A. To separate for the listener the reporting of events from the discussion of issues and comment, and B. Give both, or more likely all, sides of an argument. A story, the news in radio broadcasting, is usually presented under the umbrella of what we call a bulletin. But how do we decide what to include in a news bulletin or not? The process of selection, the reasons for rejection and the weight accorded to each story, treatment, order, duration, are all matters that deserve a lot of attention. The first consideration is to produce a news package suited to the style of the program. A 5-minute bulletin can be a world view of 20 items, superficial but ranging, or a more detailed coverage of 4 major and national stories. The shape and style of a bulletin are matters of design, not of chance, and should remain unchanged once chosen. What about the number and length of items? A typical 5-minute bulletin may consist of 8 or 9 items, the first 2 or 3 dealing with the most important information and 1 minute's length each, the remaining decreasing to 30 seconds each or less. Another possibility is, of course, that all of them keep the same length. Radio bulletins vary in duration from 90 seconds on commercial stations to 10 minutes in public service stations. Unlike longer news programs, their function is to summarize events and bring the audience up to date with the latest events. That's why analysis pieces or longer interviews are generally not included. Most bulletins offer a mix of local, national and international stories covering politics, crime, social issues, entertainment and sport. Having decided the number and length of items, you have to decide what's important as opposed to what is of passing interest. A second criterion for selection is to favor items that have to do with people rather than things. All newsrooms have different news agendas, and it's very difficult to make general comments. However, bulletins should focus on the stories that interest and affect listeners. So, the item to be of most interest is to be read first, but thereafter other factors influence the order. These include the need of a variety of topics with a mix of local, national and international news, a variety of sounds with a mix of voice pieces and actuality along with the newsreader's voice, and whether the duration of an item fits into the rest of the bulletin or not. In any case, what you always have to remember is that in radio broadcasting, a bulletin is made, let's say, of 3 elements: the copy, the cue, and the clip. Here you have an example of a copy. A copy is a news story written for broadcast.
You're listening to the World Service of the BBC. This is Owen Bennett-Jones with NewsHour, and today we're broadcasting from Edinburgh in Scotland, where the campaigns for and against Scottish independence are in full swing. 69 days to go now before the referendum here, and there are deep political divisions in Scotland, but everyone, including British Prime Minister David Cameron, agrees that the decision that will be taken on the 18th of September is momentous.
Stay or go. Stick with the UK or walk away. If the Scottish people vote yes in September, then Scotland will become an independent country. There will be no going back, no second chances.
And the leader of the Scottish National Party, Alex Salmond, is urging his countrymen and countrywomen to take the chance to go it alone.
This is our moment to be a beacon of hope, a land of achievement. Our country, our Scotland, our independence.
A cue's purpose is to introduce audio. Here you have an example. Finally, let's listen to an example of a clip, which is obviously a shortcut of audio.
Stay or go. Stick with the UK or walk away. If the Scottish people vote yes in September, then Scotland will become an independent country.
A commentary in radio is a descriptive spoken account of an event or a performance as it happens. The aim of the radio commentator is therefore to recreate in the listener's mind not simply a picture, but a total impression of each occasion. You can do that in 3 distinct ways. The words used will be visually descriptive of the scene. The speed and style of their delivery will underline the emotional mood of the event, and additional effects will reinforce the sounds of the action. A commentary is defined by the fact that, having obtained factual information, the reporter uses that information in a way in which it is assembled with its own personal observations. That doesn't mean he gives his opinion. He does not give his opinion, but a portrayal, a description of the ambience together with the facts. So, let's listen to an example.
The train's halted at a small station called Tooney. It's a sleepy-looking place. A sadhu in red robes and an orange shawl is pacing along the platform carrying a black umbrella. On a stone bench, one man's reading a newspaper, another's just staring into the distance. Maybe he's waiting for a train. Maybe he's just hanging out. The toilet attendant is sitting on a stool smoking a cigarette. Doesn't look like much business will be coming his way today. At the end of the platform, a dangling notice board announces the South Central Railway's cleanliness drive. A ragged-looking woman is collecting litter in a basket strapped to her back. Given the tide of rubbish along every railway track in this country, at least she'll never be out of work. Another woman goes by, bare feet on the hot platform. She's got a shaved head. Maybe she's some sort of holy woman. except she's wearing a long necklace and toe rings, and her grey sari looks quite expensive. It's hard to be sure of anything when you're just passing by. As our train pulls away over a wide, dry riverbed, I'm thinking, Tooney looks like a peaceful, well-ordered place. Turns out that Tooney marks the start of Naxalite territory, the rural revolt driven by poverty and social injustice, the Maoist menace which the government describes as India's #1 security threat. It just shows you can only see so much looking out of a train window.